Hello everyone. So today you will be studying about memory allocation and data structure. So last class we saw about how to use pointers and structure. So today let's see how to allocate the memory and which are the different types of memories. Okay, and how to do dynamic memory allocation, what is static memory allocation, all this we will be studying today in this class. So any idea what is this memory allocation? You have a computer, right? So while before buying a computer, laptop, or a, this, what is that, your mobile, you will see, what you will see is what is the memory. So how much memory you have, and you will sometimes you will be having very limited memory, so you have to utilize it efficiently. Okay, so that all big programs or softwares will easily run on your machine. Okay, so memory allocation is very important, otherwise you will run out of the space in your computers or laptops. So let's start with the today's session. Okay, so today's topic, today we are dealing with first chapter again, that is pointers and dynamic memory allocation, and that will be studying with the concept, your session 7 concept, that is memory allocation, and we'll also see some programs. Okay, so today we'll be dealing with what is memory allocation, what is dynamic memory allocation. So far you have used static memory allocation. So today in today's class, we'll see what is dynamic memory allocation, which are the different functions to do the memory allocation. And in that we have something called malloc and calloc, and realloc is also there, and four functions we have. But in today's class, we'll be seeing what is malloc and what is calloc. Okay, so as I said, so memory allocation is nothing but allocating some memory in your computers. Okay, to do that, there are two ways to do the memory allocation. One is static memory allocation, another is dynamic memory allocation. So static means it is constant, it will not change. Okay, what you were using in C, like int A, if you write the declaration int A, it was static memory allocation, because or int A of 100. Okay, int, if I write like this, int A of 100, what will happen? Okay, 100 memory spaces allocated. Okay, so even if you use only 2 memory spaces, 100 memory spaces will be that is, even 2 you will use, and 100 memory spaces allocated, 98 memory spaces will go waste. Whereas in dynamic memory allocation, how much you will use, only that much you can allocate. That is the advantage. And static memory allocation is done during compile time, whereas dynamic memory allocation is doing during runtime or execution time. Okay, so here it is there in the detail. That is, first one is static memory allocation. It is a process of allocating memory space, that is, fixed amount of memory is allocated in static memory allocation, and it is done during compilation time. Okay, and for example, see here we have declared int A of 10. What this declaration does? It declares the array, okay, with size 10. 10 blocks will be allocated for integer type. If it is 32-bit machine, so it will be like 2 bytes for each integer. So around 20 bytes will be allocated. So during, when it will be allocated? During compilation. Compiler will allocate 10 allocation for A. Okay, even if you use only 2, okay, maybe A of 10 you have used, maybe I'll use only 5 spaces. I'll enter the values for only 5 array values. Then what will happen? Okay, 5 memory spaces are wasted. You cannot use, it is still reserved. Whether you use or no, it is reserved for you to use. So 5 memory spaces are wasted. So that is a disadvantage of static memory allocation. So now let us see some of the disadvantage of static memory allocation. One thing is memory will be fixed. If you declare A of 10, okay, maximum memory you will be getting is 10 spaces. If you use 5 spaces, 5, what will happen? 5 will go waste. If you have declared for 10 the array and you want 12, then you cannot do it, because only 10 spaces has to be done. So if you have 10 spaces and try to use 12, okay, that case is known as overflow. Okay, and if you are underutilizing, if you have declared 10 array size and using 5 array size, then there will be underutilization, memory will be wasted. Okay, so that is a disadvantage of static memory allocation. That is, memory space will be fixed. So if you want to use more, overflow will happen. If you don't want to use, you want to use less, underutilization of memory space will happen. Okay, so next topic we have something called dynamic memory allocation. So what we do in dynamic memory allocation is, here how much we want, that much only we will use the memory space. We will allocate the only the memory space how much we want. Okay, and here in static it is done during compile time, here it is done through during runtime. Okay, and here this allocation technique, you cannot use a declaration int a of 100 you would use. If you declare, that is your static memory allocation. If you want to do dynamic memory allocation, you have some functions, some predefined function like malloc, calloc, realloc. Okay, and even when we use this, we have to use some this, what is that function, to release the memory. Okay, so here are some of the functions. What it helps, can you tell me? Why we use this dynamic memory allocation function? What happens is, okay, to allocate to do static memory allocation, we can do it via declaration. If I want 10 integer type of elements, then I can write int a of 10. Okay, but if I want to do dynamic memory allocation, I have to use some function. Those functions are known as dynamic memory allocation functions. Okay, so let's see which are those functions. These are malloc, calloc, realloc, and free. Malloc, what it does is, all malloc, calloc is both are used to allocate block of memory only. Only difference is malloc allocates one single block of memory, whereas calloc we will have multiple blocks of memory. That is a difference. Malloc means, you have to remember, M means single block of memory. See, calloc means multiple block of memory. And realloc, why we use realloc? Maybe while using malloc and calloc, okay, you have done some mistake. Okay, you have allocated, maybe in using malloc, one block of 10, size 10 I have allocated. Later I want to change it to 12. That time you have to use realloc. Realloc helps you to modify the size of previously allocated space. And the last one, after allocation, what we have to do in dynamic memory allocation, you will allocate the memory also using some function. So you have to deallocate also using some function. So if whatever is allocated, if you want to free those memory, you have to use a function called free function. So now let us see each of this in detail. Okay, so first function is malloc. Okay, so what does malloc do? It allocates a single block of memory, whereas calloc will have multiple memory. If you use malloc, one block only we will get. Okay, so what is the general syntax? See, to allocate the memory using malloc, what we have to do is, okay, so function name is malloc. You have to have the return type. So say which type of for what you want to declare. If you want to declare one block of memory of size 10 for integer, then it will be integer type pointer. By default, it will be void point of type pointer. We have to do it, we have to typecast it. Okay, so you have to take a pointer variable and equal to, okay, this pointer variable also should be of same data type. Okay, so here you should write which data type and then name of the function, how much size, maybe 10, 20, how many bytes you want. You want 20 bytes, 30 bytes, but only one single block of memory can be done. So here where PTR is a pointer variable of type data type. Okay, data type can be any basic data type or user defined data type. Your data type can be int, float, char, or array, or a string, or user defined data type like structures. Okay, of all those can be different, and size is in the form of byte. Okay. So we'll see some example now. So I will see how to declare a memory space, okay, using malloc function. Okay. So to do it, we have to declare which type of memory you want to allocate. For example, integer. I want to declare a block of integer. Okay. That time I have to use a pointer which have a return type int. So it is int star ptr. Then write that ptr is equal to int star malloc of 10. Okay. So what it does here, during runtime, okay, during the memory will be allocated during runtime, okay, that is 10 spaces will be allocated, okay, and of type integer. So in this example, how much bytes will be allocated? 10 bytes. Whereas in second one, okay, here int star malloc 5 into size of the int. Maybe your machine is 32-bit. If 32-bit, what is the size of the int? Yes. What will be the size of the integer? It will be 2 bytes. Okay. If it is 64-bit, size of the integer will be 4 bytes. Okay. Based on the your size of, it will give you, size of is a function which will give what is the size of a particular data type in your machine. Okay. So size of int, here it will be 2. Okay. So 5 into 2, it will be 10 bytes. Okay. So here 10, again 10 bytes is allocated if your computer is 32-bit. If it is 64-bit, how much it will be? So each size block will be of 4 bytes. So 5 into 4, 20 bytes will be allocated. So like this, we can do memory allocation using malloc. So just now we saw, okay, sometimes memory might be allocated or not allocated using malloc. So any idea when memory will be not allocated? Yes, yes, you're right. That is when your computer doesn't have memory space. What will happen? Okay, it will not do the allocation will be not successful. If memory space is there, allocation will be successful. Otherwise, if there is no free memory in my computer, then memory allocation would be not successful. So if you consider the following memory location, so in this computer only 4 memory spaces free. Red indicates full used by other programs. So only 4. Now how much bytes I can reserve using malloc? Only 4 bytes. If I want more than 4 bytes, if I do 5 bytes, it will give me memory allocation not successful. Okay. So now if you execute the statement, so if you execute this statement, what will happen? How much free memory space is there? Only 4. So if I try to execute, what is this? PTR is equal to int star malloc 10. So how many bytes I have asking now? The computer to reserve 10 bytes. But how much my computer has? Only 4 bytes. So it will it will show answer, that is error message. To stop the error message, okay, that is if I don't this solve this problem, if I don't write this statement, my program will behave abruptly. So to avoid that, I have to check. Okay, when there is no space in your your computer will return a value. Any idea what is the value? Okay, I want now 10 bytes, but what is happening? Only 4 bytes are free in my computer. Okay, so whenever the space will be insufficient, what will do? Your computer will return a value called null. If if only if I would ask for the first address of the memory allocation 0100 would be allocated, but if the memory is insufficient, the value null is written. So always remember, if computer doesn't have enough space, okay, so the pointer will be assigned the value called null. If computer has enough space, it will allocate the memory and return the first address of the uh, allocated memory. For example, only 4 bytes I wanted, then what is the first address? 0100 it would return. But in this case, I want how much? 10. So null will be returned. Okay. So one more example is successful allocation of memory. Now how much memory is free? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. More than 10 spaces of memory is free now, starting from 0, 1, 0, 0 to 4 nines. So this much amount of memory is free now. Now if I try to execute this, ptr is equal to int star malloc 10, what will happen now? Yes. Now I can easily allocate the 10 bytes. Okay. So after allocating, it will allocate this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So till here it will allocate the memory, and after allocating, so it will now it will not return null. If there was no space, it would return null. Now after allocation, it will return 0, 1, 0, 0. Okay. This value will be there here. PTR will be equal to 0, 1, 0, 0. Why? Because if the memory allocation is successful, it will return the first address of the data. Now, let's see one program how to use malloc function. Okay. So, as usual, you will write all the header files. stdlib standard library is used for this malloc function. stdio.h is for standard input output. conio.h is for get ch. Okay, you can write get ch here. I have missed out. Okay, I have declared int I comma n is a static declaration. Int one pointer also I have declared. So I am writing enter the number of elements. So ampersand n. Now how many elements I want, that much I will allocate, and I want integer variable. So what is the syntax? You have to write the name of the pointer equal to what type of data type I want, int. If I wanted char, it would be char. Then name of the function malloc. Okay, I don't know which machine you will run the thing. Maybe your machine is 64-bit, 128-bit, or how much I don't know. So I'll write size of int into n. N is how many number, and size of operation will give me how many bytes integer will take. And if there is no space in the memory, PTR will return what? It is equal to null. Then you can print insufficient memory and return. Else if it will not return null, it means computer has the memory space. That time you can enter n elements. Okay, go on entering. So using pointer, how to enter? Okay, ptr is the address of first element. So if I want next element, ptr plus 1. If I want next element, ptr plus 2. So on. Instead of this value 1, 2, 3, I'll write I. Okay. Then after reading, to print it, to print the value. While reading, we need address. While printing, we need the value. So it will be star ptr plus 1. So simple, right? Just it is the same program which will you write with the pointers. Only one line is extra. That is, instead of having int a of 10. Okay. Instead of having the array a of 10, what I'm doing is I'm declaring dynamic memory allocation. Okay. Next is calloc. So like malloc, calloc also helps you in allocating the memory space. But difference is malloc means single block of memory, whereas calloc means multiple block of memory. So this is your syntax. PTR is equal to data type. Okay, that is data type pointer. Same it is. Only what is difference is there it was single block like this. Okay. So we would write only malloc size. Here we will write malloc. Okay, how many number of cells you want, and comma size. Okay, so PTR stands for pointer data type. N means how many types of blocks you want. Calloc means only one block. 10 if I write 10 bytes, only one block would be there. Here, how many you want? Okay, N means how many? Maybe 10 I'll write. And how many? What is size? Maybe I'll write 2. Then 10 multiple blocks of size 2 it will allocate. Okay. So if again same it is same like malloc. If it is allocation is successful, you will get address of first byte. Otherwise you will get null. Okay. So we'll see an example. What will happen here? We are using calloc. Calloc means remember multiple blocks. So here 5 blocks has been allocated. So it is size E is there. So size of int, that is 5 into comma size of int means that is 5 blocks each of integer size. So if I have 32 bit, 2 size will be 2 of each block. Okay. So for example, if I consider this, if I use calloc, what will happen? If I write n comma size is there. Okay. So if I'll write 2 blocks of size 2, then what will happen is there will be 2 blocks, 1, 2, each will be of size 2 bytes. Okay. So if I use malloc, it will be like 1 block will be allocated. Size might be 10, so only 1 block of size 10 total. But in calloc, multiple blocks can be allocated. That is the difference. Okay. So that is the difference between malloc and calloc. So we'll see one more program. Okay, how to use calloc. Okay, it is not malloc. Okay. Calloc. So as you can see, again we are using 3 header files. We are declaring this. Only the difference is here, instead of declaring, assigning only 1 block of memory, multiple n. So how many number of elements you want? Maybe 10, 15, and each of the size int. Okay, if the pointer allocates returns null, it means there is insufficient memory, otherwise go on reading and printing. Okay, so the difference is it will allocate the multiple block of memory. So let's see now what is the difference between calloc and malloc. As I told, malloc means single block of memory, calloc means multiple block of memory. And the syntax is for malloc only one argument is there, that is ptr is equal to malloc, only size will be there. Whereas in calloc you will write how many blocks, 2 parameters are there, how many blocks, and second size of each block. Okay, and malloc doesn't initialize the allocated memory. It contains garbage. Okay. By default, malloc will not initialize the allocated memory, whereas calloc will initialize the allocated memory with 0. Maybe 10 blocks I'll allocate, 10 blocks will be of 0. Malloc will allocate only 1 block, but inside that it will show keep garbage value. Okay. And here the similarity is for both we have to do typecasting, that is whichever type of memory space you want, with that typecasting. If I want integer, int star. If I want char, char star. If I want structure type, struct student star or anything. Okay, so this was about malloc and calloc. Hope you have understood. Okay, now let's see some of the quiz questions related to this. Let's see how much you have understood the same. So in Google Classroom, all the things I have listed out. So let's see some of the questions. Okay. So what is the written type of malloc or calloc? It is, by default, it is void star. Okay. You can do typecasting for the same. Okay. And which are the header files which you want? Where to get calloc, malloc, these functions, you can use either stdilib.h or memory.h. Okay. So next, so many questions are there. Just try to solve them. Okay, it's all with the answer. It's given in Google Classroom also. So now let's see some of the questions asked in examination. Okay. So what are the questions asked in examination? We'll see on this topic. So Here is the important question, that is explain, sorry, define dynamic programming in C and its advantage. What is the advantage? You can write. What is dynamic programming? That is allocating the memory during runtime. Your memory will not be fixed. How much you want, only that much you can allocate. And also there is a question. What is the difference between malloc and calloc? Okay. So one more question is there that will come for 5 marks. Difference between malloc and calloc. Okay, you can write it in a tabular format. So tomorrow I'll be continuing what is realloc, what is free function. Okay, so any doubts you can post it in Google Classroom, and also you can mail it to my mail ID. So I'll end the class. Take care. Bye.